Hey guys, it's me, Greed here. Listen, I want to talk about some things, a little Overwatch related. I've been playing. I haven't been playing. That's a complete. I haven't been playing. I played a little bit like last week, and I encountered this, and it was annoying. So I'm going to talk about it. I want to talk about specifically Sojourn, but not just Sojourn. I want to talk about things related to problems that Sojourn has, and attribute it onto other heroes as well to try and make it easier to understand. Because some people are gonna, like, if you're a Sojourn lover, and I'm saying, well, Sojourn's done for this reason, but you really like playing Sojourn, you're gonna go, well, that's, I'm going to defend the hero I like. Fair enough. So if I then say, well, it happens with Widow as well, and you hate Widow, then you can be like, okay, I can get it a bit more because I hate Widow, so you're not blinded by bias, if you know what I'm saying? So, big issue with Sojourn. Now, this applies to Hazard as well to some degree, but not the same way. A big issue with Sojourn is that she is extremely good at pressuring angles for minimal effort. For example, let's say you're on some shallow off angle and there's a Sojourn that wants to get you off it. All she has to do is hold left mouse button to spray tons of projectiles at you, which isn't usually a huge deal. It'll kill you if you stay there, but it's not necessarily going to immediately kill you. There's some effort she has to put in. She actually has to duel you in the angle to some degree to get rid of you. However, as she's doing that, she's building Railgun, and then all she has to do is Railgun you at like 50 charge, do like however much damage it does, burst you down a bit, and it immediately wins the angle for basically zero effort. And that's a big issue I have with Sojourn, is that she doesn't really have to put in a lot of effort or a lot of risk or a lot of skill expression or things like that to actually win an angle a lot of the times, because she's got the long range consistent burst hit scan option, which is always going to be insanely effective at winning an angle because it's consistent and it's burst damage. And consistent burst damage is always relatively problematic, especially on angle control, because it's typically not that you're going to be spamming at a tank, you're going to be spamming at a squishy. So if you have that consistent burst damage, you're going to be able to win way more angles than heroes that have inconsistent burst damage, like a Hanzo or something like that, like a projectile hero, like an Echo to some degree, right? Those heroes aren't as good at pressuring at angles as a Sojourn is, because a Sojourn has the consistency of being a hit scan, right? That's a big issue, but it's not just primarily that she's got Railgun that makes her problematic, she's also very annoying because not only is she very strong, which is an argument in of itself, her overall design is relatively poor because of the fact that it requires minimal effort to do it. You don't need to hit some crazy shot, you don't need to close the distance to try and make sure you actually hit your burst damage. You can be at a relatively safe distance, you can be on a nice little angle with a support near you, and you're going to be nice and safe, and you're able to essentially win any angle you want because you're going to work up railgun charges, you're spamming at people, and then you're going to railgun a squishy off their angle, and you're going to immediately win that angle for almost no effort, and that's a problem. The same thing also applies to Hazard as well, because Hazard has way too much single target damage, whereas a lot of other tanks do not. Take it this way, back in Overwatch 1, generally speaking, an Overwatch 1 main tank was generally better at taking controlling space, cleaving, surviving damage, surviving CC, that kind of thing, and an off tank was much less survivable, but traded their survivability and lack of ability to take and hold space with more lethality. Now, they were still good at taking and holding space, they were just more so better at taking and holding angle control and lane control, more so than general space or map control like a main tank was. And that's what balanced them out. A main tank couldn't necessarily duel a lot of targets in the 1v1, but he could control a lot of space. So you'd have your off tank come in and go, the main tank was like, I can't really deal with this guy on this angle, and then boom, you've got your Diva to fly in there, get that guy off the angle, your Zarya to go in, but then it's still a duel because the Zarya doesn't have that survivability option to immediately win that angle. She can get pressured out as well. However, on Overwatch 1 with 5v5, you obviously can't do that because there's no main tank or off tank rule anymore, which means all the heroes with a bunch of single target damage not only have to keep their single target damage to some degree to keep them a viable tank hero, they also keep their design, which means they are very good at single target damage, and they were buffed to make it so that they were able to hold and control and take space like a main tank was, which is a big issue that 5v5 introduced, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Hazard. Why is Hazard so annoying with single target damage? It's because Hazard has all the characteristics of a main tank and plays like a main tank to some degree, yet also has the design of an off tank, which is really annoying. That's why you have things where, let's say you're on an angle as a soldier, and then all of a sudden Hazard comes flying in at 300 miles an hour, slashes you, boops you a million miles away, walls behind you, boops you back in, left click melees you, you're 1 HP, you're trying to run away, and then he leaps after you again, he just kills you, right? There's nothing you can do about it, there's no counterplay, he's basically just a big fat DPS hero, and the reason he's so broken is because he has that angle control. He has that same thing that Sojourn has, where he can control essentially any angle that he wants completely for free. This is a big issue with Hazard, because Hazard is not good at taking or controlling space efficiently, but he is absolutely amazing at taking and holding angles because of that single target damage. He doesn't have any part of his kit that's good at actually taking some space. He has no cleave, he has no AoE, he has no general resistance to being on the main angle, and therefore he can get spammed out very easily, so he has to take those single target duels, as well as his kit prioritizing the single target duel. And that's a big problem with Overwatch and Overwatch 2, is that a lot of the time, all the most problematic heroes are way better at either taking and controlling space and doing it way too efficiently for no effort, or are way too good at taking and controlling angles way too efficiently with no effort. So think Sojourn. She can take angles way too efficiently, way too easily, and with way too much power than a lot of the other heroes can, yet she has to put in less effort to do so. Same reason with Widowmaker. Same reason she's very annoying, because she does the same thing. She's able to take and control those angles way better than a lot of other heroes can, but for minimal effort. The fear of the one shot is enough to actually win an angle, which is bizarre. And there's a lot of heroes that do this in this game. Kiriko is a big reason for this as well. People may not attribute Kiriko to doing this, but watch high level Kiriko gameplay. A lot of it is controlling angles, flanking those angles, getting on them, forcing people out, and it's not traditional support gameplay where you're trying to keep your team up, or you're using your utility in the right places, or you're trying to enable the right target in the right situation, and you're trying to evaluate which hero on your team has the most potential effort in this fight, and then you're setting up to try and enable them that fight. There's no more of that macro gameplay. A lot of the supports are Sojourn on angle, I flank, right? I'm the invincible support character, I'm gonna go flank, and it's a big reason why Kiriko's annoying. Kiriko is very good at flanking an angle, getting in, winning an angle in a duel because you got Suzu and TP, and she's also very survivable and relatively less risk-free when she's doing that, because of the fact she has Suzu and TP, which means she's able to get on those angles, win them super easily, and force that angle control for minimal effort. And it's what makes Overwatch so incredibly boring right now, is there are so many heroes that are so easily able to control angles with minimal effort. There's no more duel to win them. For example, in Overwatch 1, you were a Tracer, Genji, whatever it may be, and you wanted to get maybe like a soldier off of an angle. It was not as simple as just, I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna shoot him and he is gonna run away. There was a duel involved. You actually had to fight for the angle, win the angle. You were risking your life to win that angle, to get him off of it, to get rid of his advantage, or to gain your own advantage by going to your own angle, and maybe a Tracer's covering that area and you can't actually get on it unless you duel the Tracer out. There was risk to reward ratios. There was actual gameplay involved. There was decision making, there was macro and micro gameplay going on, there was decisions to be made and actual gameplay to be had that involved matching up the skills between two players to warn or to see who wins that portion of map control. And that's such a big part of Overwatch, because Overwatch is not an elimination game, it's not a killing game, it's not that. It's a map control and resource management game, which is why you can see games where teammates, your team might have 3 players who are negative on it, one guy that's 15 and 12, and one guy's 25 and 15, and they'll win. And you'll think, well, how is that possible? everyone on their team is doing so bad, and it's because the enemy team isn't controlling the map or the resources in a right way, and the team that's getting fucked and dying all the time is. So they're able to work the time bank down much faster than the enemy team is, because the enemy team are not winning the map control. That's why it's so simple to pick a hero like a Sojourn, pick a hero like a Widow, like a Kiriko, like a Hazard, put in absolutely zero effort, and basically win the game for free. And that's because they can take and control space and angles so efficiently for minimal effort, meaning there's lesser gameplay in those angles. There's no more fight for map control a lot of the time. There's no more fight for a resource trade. There's no more tank trades. Nothing like that really happens anymore, because you have heroes like I mentioned, Kiriko, Widow, Sojourn, Hazard, and many others that are just way too good at winning map control for zero effort, because there is no longer a duel happening. Mwah. Have a good day. I hope that explained why I absolutely despise Sojourn. I love you all. Goodbye. Have a good day. Goodbye. Bye.